6th.
This is that whole point about saying have ETF.
Hello everybody, I'm Tom Dorsey, Tammy DeRozier to my right, and we thought we'd get a little Dorsey Wright & Associates flip video off today. The market at one point was down 1,000 points, but it has come back now, and I say the market in general, that's Dow Jones Industrial Average, down about 345 right now. If you look at the advanced decline line, down about 2,800 stocks versus about 180 up, which tells you it's going to be a big down day any way you slice it. It reminds me of, well, it doesn't remind me of that day. Watson and I sat there and watched the market back in 1987 go down the equivalent of probably 2,800 points in a day in today's kind of market. And we lived through that and everything was okay. Today, really, it almost suggested that people had just capitulated and given up on currencies. Nobody wanted any currency. Gold, for the first time today, when we had that liquidity crisis before in 2008, even gold went down. This time gold didn't go down, so it almost looked like people were moving toward gold. But still, in a lot of our indicators, some of them changed today, and it's almost like everything happened in one day. I know you've got an idea on that.
You know, I mean, I think that's one of the things to keep in mind. If you're charting your stocks, you're watching your trend lines, you're watching your relative strength chart, it's no different. It's just that those relationships that it takes to cause that relative strength chart to reverse down into O's is the exact same percentage today as it was yesterday. The only thing is, it's kind of like pulling the Band-Aid off very quickly versus slowly bloodletting that stock out or violating a trend line. So I think a lot of times in you know, I hate to use the word crisis, but a lot of people feel a bit hyped up. You feel the energy's a bit higher here in the office, a lot of phone calls. I mean, no doubt about it. You're kind of wondering what's going on with the market. The tendency is to fall away from your systematic and disciplined approach when really days like today require that more than ever you stay with your discipline. So, for instance, pull up the chart of Apple today. Okay, big move there in Apple, but if you pull up the chart and you say, geez, it still looks okay here. It just came right back down to support, so we'll probably see a lot of charts pull back down to support, maybe tomorrow bounce back up. So in the end, what you must do is follow your rules, follow your discipline.
And if you look at the chart of the Standard & Poor's 500, I just did Chuck pull one up for me, and I looked at the Standard & Poor's 500, and it has really kind of pulled back to a support level.
That's right.
If you looked at the chart, you would say, gee, it's had a nice orderly move down, but a lot of it was today to a support level. And it almost made me think, you know, about what you were just talking about. We pulled the Band-Aid off. What the vision that hit my mind was, let's say you're driving a car down a road that's got a very limited grade down, and you're driving down, and everything is fine, no problem. Or you could say, let me get to the bottom of that road by falling off the cliff.
Right.
We're going to end up at the same place. One is a lot less painful, just riding down with a low grade, than falling off the cliff. Net result is, don't go crazy, don't freak out. Some people called us today. Some of the exchange traded funds had some very strange prices. Even the one that we manage, the PDP, that's done extremely well this year. All of a sudden, for whatever reason, the exchanges couldn't keep up with the price changes that were taking place, and it said it traded at 10 cents. Couldn't happen. That's impossible. But a real problem is some people had stops in. Where was the high on that PDP?
Yeah. Well, you know what happened.
Not today, but I mean in recent high.
Recent 20 and something.
20 and something. You may have had to stop in at 19. Where it hits 19, the stop is hit, and you get executed at 10 cents because the computer was saying 10 cents. It didn't really happen. And that happened before, didn't it?
Yeah, that's happened before. What you should do in that situation is call the ETF provider, call your advisor, talk to them, and see what kind of remedies there are. And that it goes to point out why you don't want to put stop orders like that in on ETFs. This is not the first time it's happened. It happened in 2008, early 2009 with this particular product. So you need to keep that in mind when you manage these things. So, and one of the great things you can do is always just set an alert in the Dorsey Wright system that it will email you if your price is hit. Then you can look at the chart, look at the market action, and decide what action, if any, you want to take, and you can see whether that price is really good, true trade or not. Because a lot of times too, you think about the international markets, all the Asian markets are closed when this happened. So for ETFs that hold international stocks, those market makers are having to predict where they think those prices will open up. So those spreads are going to get a lot wider in those things.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting tonight in the overnight markets. I have some models that are running in Malaysia and Indonesia and Egypt. Egypt will be off tomorrow, so they won't even be open, so hopefully things straighten out by that time. But that's okay, you know, I'm going to let those models continue to run, and if we do get a pretty good whack in the overnight markets and whatnot, that might be an opportunity for me next week to add money to the models.
Yeah, so exactly, what you do is you pull up the chart of your model, which you
Right.
can do, which is a great thing about all the models, is we actually plot them just like you do IBM, and you pull up that chart and you say, hey, how does this model look? And like you mentioned, the pullback in the S&P 500, don't imagine that as one day, but imagine it as over a period of time. Would your decision be different?
Exactly.
That's the way you have to look at it, be
Exactly.
systematic and disciplined like that.
Well, we'll go ahead and stop right now. We're going to do another flip video tomorrow morning, and we'll put this up once we have a chance to see the overnight markets and get some ideas in the morning. But we just wanted to get up with you on what's going on today.